Hey, what's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is day 73 of Oscar Rewind, my bi-weekly series of video commentary that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. I've been digging deep into those IMDb profiles, and my hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I'll be discussing the Oscar connection to this film, the box office information, its own award history, critical response, and most importantly, these reviews are spoiler-free. Now, before I jump in, do me a favor, click that subscribe button because you definitely don't want to miss any of the cinematic goodness coming your way. You know, we are closing out the Rewind season and we are almost up to the new award stuff. Very exciting. But we're going to wrap this up with our last few episodes. Today, I am discussing Entertainment One's Sickos. Released in 2014, the film was co-written by Albert Espinosa and the film's director, Lodewijk Crijns. Released solely in its home country of the Netherlands, the film's total international and worldwide box office was $313,837. Critically, the film shows no score. As our usual source, Rotten Tomatoes, shows us, there is one audience review. That person liked it, 4 out of 5. But as such, that's not enough to warrant a popcorn meter score, and there are no critical reviews on record for this film. Award season-wise, like its Rotten Tomatoes showing, nothing to show. So we're just going to jump right into it. But I have to say, this is one of those films that I discovered because of, the connection and doing this Oscar Rewind dig, which is for the film's assistant director, Victoria Warmerdam. Now, Warmerdam received and won her first Oscar this year for Best Live Action Short for writing and directing the comically tragic I'm Not a Robot. Fun fact, in her career, as per IMDb, Sickos marks her sole work on a feature film, with every other project they've worked on being a short. So, what is Sickos about? Translated from its Dutch title, Kankerliers, it translates to cancer sufferers. So we have a tweak in the title when translates. Instead of focusing on the direct translation, the English title refers to the nickname that the patients in this film in the hospital gave themselves. They proudly declare that they are not sick, they are sickos. They take a comedic edge. Set primarily in a pediatric oncology department of a hospital, we have our 4 ride-or-die besties. You have teenagers Olivier, played by Gijs Bloem, Nick, played by Massimo Pesic, Ivan, played by Joshua Rudge, and Pepin, played by Ramon Verkuyen. All of them have varied stages of bone cancer. Now, spending much of their lives in the hospital, they have all bonded and are, you guess you could call them like the bad boys of the hospital, right? Whether they're racing around in their wheelchairs or smoking weed with Alfredo, the maintenance man, played by Dutch rapper Negative, in the basement, they are trying to make the best of the situation that they're in. One day, a new patient is admitted and moved into Ivan's room, Gina, played by Vera Vanderhorst, a beach volleyball player who sets their youthful hearts and loins on fire. Gina is admitted as a result of a leg injury, then they believe she may also be, have a cancer in her bone. She initially refuses that this could be true, but through a series of events, she realizes that befriending this group is going to help her deal with this, and she does open up, and then our group becomes a few more, and we kind of see them go through the day-to-day. They try to make the best of everything despite the challenges they are facing. We learn that Olivier is frustrated and refusing to take his next round of chemotherapy, even though it could prolong his life. Ivan is initially excited to finally receive a prosthetic leg to replace the one he lost to the bone cancer, but there are challenges with this. Nick we don't fully learn the backstory, but we see that there is a lot of strain in his relationship with his father, refusing to talk anytime he calls. And Pepin is afraid because he recently completed a round of chemotherapy that did not seem to go well, and now may have to go to the nuclear reactor for radiation treatment. Now, as we follow the films, we will see the highs and the lows that this group deals with, in the reality of the situation. Again, I have to say, so I have a little personal connection with films. I've had family members, not with bone cancer, but with cancer. So, look, these are the films I have to say I do love about Oscar Rewind. It brings films that I, and possibly you, have never heard of. And sometimes I get a decent gem. Now, don't get me wrong, not always. We know that there have been some not so great ones that I've talked about, but this one was particularly enjoyable. Not the circumstances that they're in, but these characters are not made of stone, and while they do have moments of weakness and vulnerability, we also see portrayals of teens who want to live their lives while they have it. The four young actors in the group each have moments to shine at different points. They kind of play into some of the stereotypical teen tropes that we've seen. I guess the best comparison I could make, though these are a little more grounded, not quite as extreme as like the tropes of the group in American Pie, but Olivier is kind of like the Jim, the leader. Nick is the Stifler who's always interested in the girls. Yvonne is Kevin, a little bit more sensitive, and Pepin is Oz, the really quiet, reserved one. And, all of the actors bring a sweet authenticity to the role. They were teens when they played these, not older teens or early 20s playing teens, which works. And you also feel that the hospital we're in, it's kind of like a cross between a real hospital and maybe a slight variant of Scrubs, the TV show, because the way these boys at times race around the hospital, knocking things over, knocking patients over, there's a little comedic element to it, so it's a little bit of a heightened reality. I have to assume, that these characters, I did dig in, so I have to say there were some wonderful visual effects in this, because two of the cast are amputees, and I wasn't sure if they were real amputees or if this was CGI. My best research shows that it was CGI, so nice work on the visuals. And I have to say the music, too, is quite amazing. Composer Bart Vanderlisdonk, he really imbues moments of lightness with heart and pulls at the heartstrings when necessary. I will say, mini spoiler, not all of our group of five may make it to the end. And, we really see the impact of, this disease on the community and what they're trying to do. And even though this film heightens certain things, they really have a clear message to get across about living life, which I have to say I truly enjoyed. A note to Warmerdam, I'm not sure how much she did on this film as the assistant director, but given the humor that I experienced in I'm Not a Robot, I can clearly see how some of this film may have influenced that Oscar-winning short. Sickos is one of those films that, while it tackles a sad topic, is able to do so with such genuine heart that you can't find yourself smiling more often than crying, although there may be some moments where you might want to grab for the tissue. All that said, the rating is a little tricky. Here's where I'm going to go. It's a decent 3-star film. It may not linger in your minds long after watching, but there is a sweet watch. It moves pretty quickly. It's a 90-minute film. As a result, there's a few plot lines that I wish they would have dug into a little bit deeper that just kind of go so quick. But again, decent performances. There's a lot worse ways to spend 90 minutes. If you would like to watch Sickos, your only option, from what I could find, the way I did it, was a $2 digital rental on Amazon Prime. Prime was the only retailer I could find with this film streaming on it for the rental. All right, so there we have it. Later this week, I'll be looking at another French foreign language film, another Dutch film from the producer of I'm Not a Robot. And that one is definitely going to have a different vibe from this one. And actually, probably some of you have seen this film that I'm going to talk about, Remake. For that one, to find out what it is, you got to come back and see me on Friday. As always, if you like what you heard here, please, again, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button, like the video, share it, comment, get in on the conversation. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. And again, find lots of great additional content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, happy watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.